Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors, America's only daily outdoor TV show. Your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. I'm Bill Allen. I'm sitting in for Winston Chester, and we've got a good show lined up for you today. We're going to talk a little bit of fishing, and then there's some hunting pictures from Brentwood Plantations over here, and a trip that we made not long ago on a quail hunt. The weather today brought to us by Haney Technical. The high is 57 with a low of 47. 50% chance of rain and a northeast wind at 5 to 15. High tide is at 8:18 tonight, and a low tide is 6:39 this morning. And we're working off of a full moon. It's pretty strong. Peak time today, 11:09 to 1:09, 11:09 a.m. to 1:09 p.m. It's listed as high activity. And the secondary time would be 5:46 a.m. to 6:46 a.m. at decent activity. River is holding steady at about Apalachicola at Bluntstown is about 4 feet. It should be a slow fall through the weekend, but very slow. Choctahatchee at Caryville, same thing. It's about 2.7 feet with a slow, fairly steady fall. So we want to go ahead, take this first break, and then come right back. All right, welcome back. I want to start off before we get into the hunting. I wanted to show you a couple of pictures from a recent trip that, I made 2 trips down to Apalachicola and the river systems down there, one with my buddy Bill Shields and the other with Greg Brudnicki. And this first picture that you're looking at is a nice red that I just caught right off the bat. It was a little cool that morning, and he jumped all over it. That's actually another red that I picked up shortly after. That's obviously a nice trout a little bit later in the day, and then one final redfish later that morning. So, the water is cooling down, and in all the river system, it doesn't have to be Apalachicola. It can be Choctahatchee. It can be, in our bay, Crooked Creek and Burnt Mill Creek. But as the bait and the shrimp start to move up into the warmer water, into the fresh water, this is the time of year that I love. So we go regularly to all those spots. Choctahatchee is also very good. You can cross the intercoastal, go over there, and there's several places once you get there that spread out. It's a great place to do that. Now, the way we find those fish in the river system is by slow trolling some swim baits. I use any combination of those storm swim baits, usually the chartreuse, but they also have some yellow-tailed brown ones that work very well. You just kind of have to see what's on the menu that day. The Havoc, the same way. The chartreuse, when I use those with that swim tail they have, I'm generally using like a 3/8 ounce, red DOA head, or just the white one with the chartreuse tail. So also very effective. I'll use a chartreuse DOA head with any number of swim baits, root beer colored and flake with the flake in it. So there's a lot of twin tails out there. There's a lot of those single curly tails out there. You just kind of have to see what's on their menu and go from there. But we'll find a likely spot or a spot we've been to with some decent water. I mean, the thing about these fish is you find them in 5-6 foot of water, and you'll find them in 16 foot of water. So we make a long cast out of the back of the boat, and just slow troll until we come across fish. And so, you know, typically what we try to find is a falling tide, especially in Appalachia, where, you know, generally this time of year you got a little bit of a north wind, you've got a falling tide, and you've got the river, the natural movement of the river, so you could troll in the direction that the bait's going in other words. So, and you just have to play with it. It's not fast. 1 or 2, depending on your trolling motor setting. You want to keep it off the bottom. You know, bouncing once in a while is okay, but generally keep it, you know, a little bit off, just enough speed to keep it off the bottom. And then, of course, you know, if everything's dry, start increasing the speed, start changing colors until you locate the fish. You know what I mean? You know, once we find them, then we stop. You know, a lot of times and start casting and, you know, working it in that same way. If it's shallow enough to power pole, or if it's, you know, where you may just have to pull to the side and start working those baits. And again, in the same direction as the tide and the river, always seems to work better. You can get the bait down better and you can fish it in a lot of different ways. So, you know, and we always try to watch the water temperature and the depth, just, you know, to monitor that to see, because anytime you find an area where there's even 1 or 2 degrees difference in the water temperature, it can make a big difference on whether there's fish holding in that hole or that stretch. I mean, Greg and I have done that on a couple of times in very small cuts, that it was, you know, 6-7 feet of water, and then we ran into a trough where it dropped down to 9 feet, even 10 in certain places, for maybe 125 yards, 150 yards, but also you saw a temperature change. And so when the temperature warmed up a degree or 2, we made several passes through that one stretch, and it was unbelievable the type of fish that we caught. Did the same thing over in the Intercoastal at St. Joe. That's a great place to do this at. You just have to find the fish. We were there one morning, it was freezing cold. Nobody else was dumb enough to be there, and we fished around for a while and we're about to give up, but we got well on down towards the river, and same thing. We found a stretch where the water was a little bit warmer, and we worked probably not more than 150 yard stretch, and we wound up both limiting out on some really nice trout. So it's a great time of year to do it. You could take the kids, just make sure they're holding on to the rods, and it's a great way to find fish, and then continue that way or start casting. But a quick report on the fish, and we're going to come back and talk about a little quail hunting. All right, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that. Now, back in the first part of November, it was my good buddy, lifelong friend Jim Lewis's birthday, and he planned a trip, he and Carol, to Brentwood Plantation. I don't know how well you could see that. It's in Bainbridge, Georgia. It is a place Jim has been before, and we took a small group up there and just had a wonderful time. Woody War, Captain Danny Tankersley, who I've known for quite some time, and Sean Hayter are the guys who kind of head that up there. And I've got some pictures that I'm going to run through and show you, but you know, this is, it's 2 hours away. They have wonderful accommodations. You know, I call it first class cabin or something like that, but the food's wonderful. The lady that comes in, that you know, they do, you know, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and it's just fantastic. It's a home cooking kind of situation in a real friendly atmosphere. And we went on a Friday, hunted Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, and then Sunday morning, and it just had a tremendous time. There's a little pond, and I've got several pictures to show you. So, you know, we didn't really manage to get any video on this, but it's you know, it's something you really ought to check out. It's a couple hours away. It's close. They're very friendly people. They have everything you need. If you don't have the right guns, the right equipment, they have them there. You know, we shot anything from over and under 410s that Neil Jones had, which I thought was a fantastic gun, and then some 20 and 28 gauges. So we had a great time. But now listen, now you know how technically advanced I am, so without Jeff, this show wouldn't happen. But I'm going to try to work this off my phone and then some other pictures that we've got and talk through them a little bit. But this first one is Jim, Lewis, and I, and that's on the porch out there. We're getting ready to go for that first hunt. Now these, a little bit of shade, but you can see these modified wagons that they have are very comfortable. Some real nice, almost lounge chairs up there that that the hunters are in, following the guides. Little picture of the main lodge that they have there again, and like I said, it's just absolutely gorgeous, and they have the other accommodations beside that as well. And of course, for any of you that have done this, there's always the initial safety talk. It's like a briefing when you go on a cruise ship. Obviously there's some very expensive dogs up there and people that you don't want to shoot. So they go through that, and it's well received and well done. And this is just more of the same with a couple of the guides there, and Jeremy Vaughn, a good buddy of ours that went, Jeremy and April. Speaking of April, there she is. A great shot. I think she might have had a better weekend than Jeremy, but I'm going to reserve that because Jeremy's a lot bigger than I am. This is Kevin Heath, another longtime friend of ours that I hunted with most of the time, and of course Jim Lewis back there. But there's all types of terrain up there. It's they've got some open areas. They've got it's just a well-structured property to hunt on. That's me. You see, they always send me into the high rough stuff. But once again, in the high rough stuff. But there were a lot of quail there, and if you've ever been to these things where these quail get up and fly about 10 yards and sit back down, that's not the situation up here. Most of these flew like wild quail. They've been managed well. They've been out for a long time, and you don't have that situation. Nothing I hate worse than that. I won't shoot one. That's Jim, me of course, and my substantially better half Donna. All the girls went, had a great time. This is the crew that went. So it's Jim and Carol Lewis, Donna and I, Debbie and Kevin Heath, and although I don't see Debbie, I don't think, but and Jeremy and April Vaughn and Neil Jones again. So these are the guides. Some of the dogs that they use. These are the guys that run the thing. They have guides who come in to assist as well, with some larger groups. Now this is on the back of the property. This is an old sharecropper's house that they have redone or updated to be, and that's done on the porch, to be kind of a stop. It says general store, but they have some food there and drinks or whatever. It's really a neat place that they're kind of still working on. This is a good look at some of the property that's open. You see a lot of that stuff's head high, but it's not that thick. It's great habitat for these quail. And this is my lovely bride on one of the horses, and they have a neat situation there where if you choose to, whether you're hunting or you're just trailing along, like Donna did, you can choose not to ride in the wagon and ride the horse with the guides. So the situation up there is that they have the guide is usually on horseback. You have somebody that assists driving the vehicles, and it's where all the dogs are as well, with the hunters on top. And then they have some excellent pointers out there that will locate them and lock down on them. And then they bring in the spaniels as flush dogs. So it's not a matter of walking walking up the quail yourself. It's a little bit different for me anyway. I've always walked in on the point, but it was great with these flush dogs and retrievers. So you know, you can ride along until they find the first one. Then we get out and then kind of walk the section that we're going to hunt. I'm not sure exactly how many sections they have, but they have enough to accommodate a lot of people up there. So we've got some more pictures coming up just of the day in general and some shots. We don't have any video really that came out too well. But if you're looking for a place to quail hunt with a first-class atmosphere that feels more like a home place, you know, this is the place to go. I've been to several and I enjoyed the heck out of this, and especially the food was fantastic. So let's go ahead and take this break, and then we'll come back and finish up with some more pictures of this. All right, welcome back. Again, you know, today we're talking about Brentwood Plantation. This was 1st of November. You know, like I said, I highly recommend these guys. They're great guys. Just do a wonderful job up there of making you feel welcome and in a really, really nice facility. They have a big pond that you'll see in a few minutes when I stumble through these pictures with Jeff's help. And Jeremy and I walked out there either before a morning hunt or after a morning hunt and worked our way around the pond and caught and released 5 or 6 bass apiece. I think Jeremy caught more than that. So there's a lot to do up there. And if there's a pond somewhere and it looks like there's fish in it, I'm going to go and add Jeremy as well. So, all right, Jeff, let's attempt this and look at some of these pictures. You see me working the laptop. This ought to be good. This first one is of Kevin Heath. And Kevin's a good shot. I hunted with him multiple times. As you can see, he's shooting with the wrong hand, but he's still a good shot being a left-hander. Once again, you see what they did to me. I'm in the, you know, in the tall, closed-in area, but that was by my choice. There were quail in there, and we were working them out. More of the same. But now there's a beautiful sight. Now these pointers that they had, these were fantastic dogs and really enjoyed it. When you see that tail like that, it's go time. Getting on through here, you know, just quickly looking at some of this, there's what you want to see with the quail in the mouth. Didn't lose any birds. Beautiful shot there. Most of the first pictures Donna took, and these were taken by Carol as they were working with us or following us. But so Carol, being the biggest dog lover in the world, has mostly dog shots instead of us. So, and there's a nice one with the quail in the mouth. That must have been where I was hunting. But you know, here we are working out into some terrain, or I think that's Jim, probably, and Carol. This is Carol with Charlie. Charlie is a English Spaniel that belongs to Jim and Carol that they bought from Brentwood, and he is just a fantastic dog. Earlier this year, he won the puppy trials in the one of the competitions that they had. You know, but in truth, he's my dog. I just let them keep him. But anyway, Charlie and I have a special relationship. And there's, I think that's Jim, again, working some of that thicker stuff. But they have a variety of terrain up there, which I really like. Some open, some through the woods, which, you know, I kind of prefer. That's Kevin again moving in. Jim in shot there, can't see the bird. I'm sure it's down though. And Kevin, Kevin has that new over and under, and he's really gotten good with it. Jim and Charlie, and the Lewis family, right there. But Kevin again on a shot off a road there. But and there's Charlie bringing a quail back, and notice he brought it back to Carol. So Anyway, and that is, again, my substantially better half that went with us, and she spent all day out in the field with us every time that we went. After almost 37 years being married, she's still right there by my side when I'm doing something. Debbie and Kevin Heath, that, like I said, we spent the first day hunting with, is great people, great friends of ours. This, I believe, is Ryan. He is one of the guides that came in, and this is starting out one morning where, you know, they have the pointers out locating until they lock up, you know, and then they get down, call for the hunters, and that's basically how it starts. And again, more pictures. There's all types of terrain here, which I really like. Now, this little dog, this little spaniel with her head cranked to the side is Barrett. Barrett is about 3 years old and a fantastic dog, but Barrett had a stroke out of nowhere, and for a while was mostly paralyzed, and when she recovered, this is what she looked like. But she still will hunt and works great, and I think she sees better under the bushes like this, but it's just a pleasure. It's a great dog. But anyway, just working through this between some of the pointers and some of the spaniels. We had a large time. I highly recommend it. You know, they're just great guys in a great situation. It is, that's Kevin and I who hunted together most of the first day, or the entire first day. We had a great time. He's a great friend. These, again, just some of the dogs. That's Barrett in the background there, but and Charlie bringing more of them back. But I got a ton of pictures, but if you're looking to do a quail hunt for a weekend or for a day, Brentwood Plantation in Bainbridge, they're a bunch of great guys with a home-type atmosphere and a first-class facility. Give them a call. But I appreciate your time, and have a great day. God bless.
Thanks for watching America's only daily outdoor TV show, Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester, featuring hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.